Should I start or?
Just I will give the introduction. So
Okay.
thank you all. Thanks for joining us today. And let me share the introduction of this event. Today we have get together for Business Agility Meetup for the month of May. And we have Mr. Nurun Nabi as a speaker with us, and also Reshmi Fernandez with us as a speaker. So we are uh, waiting for listening from them, and I hope both of them will share their experiences of regarding business agility, leadership, and other things relevant with it. And the background of this meetup, we have few communities in Bangladesh, that is Agile Tour Bangladesh, Women in Agile Bangladesh, and Business Agility Meetup Bangladesh. So these three communities have organized this event, and we have a plan to do this kind of event every month, right? So that we can meet and we can share our knowledge. And Let me introduce Novi first, as he is going to uh, start this session. So Novi is Chief Business Officer at Synesis IT, and he has more than 20 years of experience in enterprise software sales, especially in bank, NBFI, and government and corporate sections. And he provides, full planning, decision making, everything guidance to his teams and organization to make business more agile. And he has already in this agile arena for few years, and Novibhai is a certified business agility professional, and he is also ACMP, that programs run by our Bangladesh government. He has achieved that one, and yes, he is a seasoned IT professional. So welcome, Nomi Bhai, and I'm really thankful to you for doing this for us. And thank you so much for being here with us. Yes, so please, this is your time, and you can start. And after completing this session, you can ask anything, ask the question to Nobi Bhai, and after that, we will move forward to Reshmi's session. Thank you.
Thank you, Tawfiq. Thanks for the wonderful intro. So can I share my screen, Tawfiq?
Yes, Nobi Bhai, you can share your
I-
screen.
Is it okay? Can you see me? I mean, my slide?
Yes, I can see your slides. Right.
Okay. So, Assalamu alaikum and good evening. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. This is Nur Nabi, as you have already mentioned that this is Nur Nabi, and I am here to have joined with you in this webinar. This is, I think it's a great pleasure for me as well. So the thing is that today is our topic is demystifying the business agility. Okay, so next 30 minutes, I will introducing the core business concept of the business agility. And the time is very short, but I will give you the fundamental understanding of what is required, what is necessary to be a successful and viable organization in 2023 and beyond, based on the agile transformation. So I have designed our presentation like, first of all, we'll share the concept of business agility. Secondly, I'll share some success factors of the agile transformation. And finally, the components of business agility. That is so important. Actually, you have already told that who am I. So this is Nur Nabi, and I've been doing sales and marketing since 21 years. From the inception, I was in the sales and marketing discipline, and I specialize in helping my company and entrepreneur. I mean, for the policy formation, working with the business development models, and helping them to generate the revenues. So this is my intro. Before starting, Tofik, can I ask a question to the audience that do you have any idea regarding the business agility? Is this possible?
Yes, yes, it's possible, and they can answer as
Someone will,
well. You can
yeah.
share your answer in chat. If you want to speak up, you can unmute yourself and talk to Novi directly. Yeah.
Can anyone unmute yourself? You want to say something about the business agility? Do you have any idea?
Hello, sir.
Except that you,
Assalamu alaikum.
yeah.
Hello, this is Spandan speaking. So, from my perspective, I think that business agility means it would be something which is giving strength to the business or giving more view to the audience so that an organization can generate more revenue and according to the time and the factors of the audience who should be their targeted audience or something like that.
Excellent answer.
Thank you,
Excellent
sir.
answer. So, yeah, let me clarify all these things, okay? As you have mentioned. Okay. Before starting, I want to share a story with you. Once a mouse was stuck in a place, and it was seeing that an owl on the top of a tree, it can just sing anything and everything from the top of the tree. And mouse said that, "Owl, how could you do so? Can you please help me? I want to see everything from the top." Then owl said that, well, it's very simple and it's very easy, that you just add two wings with you and we can go and climb to the tree. And mouse said that, wow, it's a fantastic idea, I can do so. But after some moment, the mouse returned and asked to the owl that, "Owl, how could I add wings with me, because I'm a mouse?" Yeah, please remember this example. Exactly same things happen in our organization. We have, sometimes it seems that we have the goal, we have the mission, we have the strategy, but we don't know how to do it, how to execute it. It is very, very important. So my total presentation based on this context, that it is so important to have not just a strategy for agile transformation, but absolutely be able to execute it as well. So your strategy has to match the capability for your execution. So it is quite important to understand the execution of the strategy and the strategy itself. So in that context, I would say that business agility and I mean, agile transformation can help you, can guide you in this context. So now, I like to say, as I mean, industry colleagues said that the definition of business agility, he was partially correct. So, what is business agility? So we need to understand it. Business agility is a set of organization capabilities, behaviors, and ways of working that affords your business the freedom, flexibility to achieve its purpose. Let me pause here. So the thing is that here business agility is not any framework. There is no specific practices that define how to do business agility. Mind it. Okay, there are three things here: the capabilities, the behaviors, and the ways of working these things to betterment, to achieve our goal. So there are three things you need to address here. So there is no specific rules or guideline or framework that you need to do the business agility. However, rather than it is how you see and how you behave, meaning the capability that you create inside the organization. At the same time, how to develop a culture, a mindset based on your capability. So it is quite important to understand here the business agility. Okay, next line is like that, no matter what the future brings. Okay, the thing is that here I need to give you an example. Look at the example. Sometimes we go to the gym, right? We go to the gym. Why? Because we need to develop our muscle. We need to boost up our energy. We need to strengthen our strength. Why we need to do so? Because it will work. Sometimes we weight lift, sometimes we run, we walk, we do the exercises in the gym because of to ready for the future. Whenever your friends or family or colleagues asking help from you as far as the physical strength is concerned, so you can help them. Exactly same thing happens in the organization. Think about your organization muscles. There are several muscles in the organization across the department. So business agility is the series of muscles across your organization that you need to develop so that you can fight with the future uncertainty and ambiguity and so stuff like that. So it is pretty important to understand that is just like going like a gym, that you do practice, you do hard work to fit for the future. So here is the thing that no matter what the future brings, so you have to ready, your organization have to ready for that. I think it is pretty clear now what is business agility. Now I like to discuss some success factor for the agile transformation. It is also a very important topic that for the transformation we need to understand first why we need to do the transformation. Because the everything moves fast, very fast in the digital age, right? The customer desire, the expectation, the competitive strength, the technology choices, the revenue stream, the cost structure, the possibilities, the market dynamics, and so on. So continuously, your environment is changing, so that you need to cope with this changing environment. Why and how? This is the reason why we need the agile transformation. And first of all, we need to set our goal. The goal is not the agile goal. I mean, don't let agile be your goal. Your goal is your business goal. Goal is your organization goal. So we need to fix up your goal, and agile can help you to do so. Okay. And secondly, the culture, it is quite important as well. Culture itself is a topic that we can discuss it hours and hours. So we need to make a culture more visible and tangible so that employees can work together, collaboration is taking place, and they are the satisfied employee, so that their output will be fantastic. So we need to create an environment, we need to build up the culture to achieve our goal. So it is quite important. And for example, we leverage a tool called competing value framework. Okay, this thing is like that. The leaders want to see the present scenario. This sort of framework will help you understand that where we want to go, what it should be your goal. So it is quite important. In this context, the agile transformation and business agility framework and the guideline can help you to create the culture. This is quite important. And the mindset and behavior, another topic, quite important topic. Like whenever you think about the leaders, they are not just like signing the checks or giving approval for your leaves or appraisal, performance appraisal. So many things they are doing, the leaders. But leaders are not like that. Leaders need to take the personal responsibility to create a culture, to create a mindset, so that the agile transformation make worthy, right? So in that sense, we can think about some practices which we can learn from the agile transformation. So, sorry for that. So we can think about some practices. We can set up and forming some teams within the organization. The leaders, some leaders, they can help, they can understand, they can have the mindset to do so, to really make the changes occur in the organization. So have a powerful council that can help to make decision and who can help you to reduce the all, I mean, obstacles of the organization. So here it is, the practice is not the top down or the bottom up. It means that somebody who can actively drive, help to remove the obstacle from this journey. So it is quite important. And from the three aspects we can do the practice, like the business agility, the leadership agility, as well as the, sorry, I have a call. Yes, sorry. The business agility, the leadership agility, as well as the, I mean, the everyday agility. So it is quite important. And next topic is like the macro and micro culture. It is also very important things to do, I mean, think about, because for the success factor, for the agile transformation factor, it is quite important. And macro culture, we all know that there are certain policies in our organization, like the finance policies, like the business policies, the HR policies, and so on. These are all the macro culture within the organization. At the same time, we have the micro culture as well. What are they? Like they are just like the behavior of the employees, like the attitude of the employees, and the three things we need to think about, like every meeting, every decision taken by the leaders is a part of the microculture, and even every conversation make by them, so it should be improve the culture of the organization. So it is very important things to be understand, so that if we understand these topics, we can easily correlate within our organization context, and we can think about the agile transformation. And finally, the sustainability. I would say that agile is a journey, it's not a destination. Just think about the example of gym, that regularly we need to go there to, because to, I mean, build up our muscle and everything. So regularly you need to practice for the sustainability. Well, our next slide is like the components of business agility. It is another very important aspect we need to discuss. Well, the first is like the delivering fast and responsibly. Second point is the product innovation, and third is the organization adaptability, and most important, the role of leadership. These four things, these are the four pillars we need to think about as a component of business agility. So the thing is that the delivering fast and responsively, what does it mean? Because we need to think about the high quality of the product. We shouldn't sacrifice the quality of the product. We need to think about the fastness. How could we go to the, I mean, market in a fast pace compared to other competitors and so on. And obviously, you need to think about the ensuring the customer loyalty. So three things are happening in the delivering fast and responsibly. So we need to do some exercises and practice for that, like the scaling agile delivery, the continuous delivery, the DevOps, the full value streams, all the concept of practicing, we can do so if we have the understanding, if we have knowledge of the agile transformation. So it is quite important. And secondly, the product innovation. What are they? So we need to understand, obviously, the product innovation in the context, like the new customer demand. You always have to face the new customer demand, the desire of the customer. Based on the customer requirement, you need to design your product. Not like that without any information, we are just making the product and so on. So you need to understand the needs of the customer. It is very important. Develop a improved product faster, and rapid experimentation is required to do so. So product innovation at the same time is quite very important. And another aspect of the product innovation, like the learning the customer needs. What are they? Learning the customer needs is three things we can quote here, or discuss here, like the lean startup. We all know about the lean startup, the design thinking, and the portfolio management. Lean startup, just defined, it is a framework for discovering and validating the right market ideas. So we need to find out who is our right customer, what is the right market for us. This sort of thing can help the lean startup. As well as the design thinking, we all know that design thinking is it's just like methodology, identify customer needs of the product and services opportunities. So another aspect of the product innovation, it is another dimension of the product innovation. And the portfolio management obviously focuses on the maximizing the flow of values of the customer. So in the center, customer is the key, customer is everything. We need to design our product, and everything, the product innovation is going on based on the customer requirement. And the third point is like the, I would say, the organizational adaptability. So just think about the gym example every time, so that it will help you to understand the agile concept, very clearly. So organizational adaptability, as you know that there are certain things that, have you heard the name of VUCA? I'm sure that somebody heard the names of VUCA. So this is the volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. We all know within our organization, this sort of situation always comes and stay. Okay, this is our real challenge. So in this situation, bureaucracy taking place very much. So employees are dissatisfied, the inefficiency is going on. So fear of employee is must, mandatory, obvious, and the resistance to change is there. So organization cannot remain static in this position. You must have to change. So whenever we think about the changing pattern of things of the organization, you must have to think about the business agility and the agile transformation. That's why we need to understand this topic. And whenever this situation arises in the organization, whenever we need to think about the change of this situation, we need to think about changing the process, the structure, and customer value evolve on that. So it is quite important. And finally, the role of leadership. You have to understand, as I've already mentioned, that leader must have to take the personal responsibility. For why? For what? They are the front, runners, so that company needs this sort of leader, this sort of mindset, so that they can cultivate, they can develop a culture, a mindset, uh, going towards the, for the accomplish our goal, accomplish our business goal, not only agile goal. Okay, so they should create a right environment where, as I mentioned, that delivery of agility, the product innovation taking place, so that at the every level they can orient the concept of agile business agility, and they can share the, vision of success to the all employees, so that really change will happen then, and the change in the mindset and the culture, everything will be changed towards the positive and innovative environment. So it is also very important. uh, Now, the domains of business agility, I have already mentioned each and everything. So it is very important to understand that there are three border aspects. This is the individual development. We need to think about the operational efficiency, and we need to think about the changing the operational efficiency. And the leadership is also very important. Some of the leaders need to take the role that they need to understand first, and they need to able to understand the other colleagues, so that the continuous improvement is going on. And look, in this picture, the center, the heart of the things is that business agility is that your customer, customer and customer. It depends on the customer demand, customer expectation, customer desire you have to fulfill through your product or service. So it is not just like easy. So you need to practice it. You need to think about the business agility, the business agile transformation, and so on, based on the customer desire and expectation. After that, there are some partners, like you have the suppliers, you have the vendors, and so on. You have the top management and director level who can approve the budget of business agility or agile transformation is fine. uh, and rest of the things are automatically will come. So I don't have that much time to explain the domains of business agility, but at the high level, I'm sure that you can understand, you can recognize, you can make sense on the concept of business agility and the agile transformation. So I am just going to finish my topic, and I now like to have a quiz. Can you use the menti.com from your I mean, from the desktop, or I mean, from the mobile? You can just put www.menti.com. I will give an quiz, so please answer it so I can examine that how I have done with my session. Are you ready, Taufik? Can you please unmute everyone, or is it
Yes,
possible?
yes. Everyone can unmute himself or herself.
Okay.
So yes,
I will give a code number so that can you see my screen? I'm sure that you are seeing my screen,
yes,
right?
yes, yes.
Okay. So here is the quiz for you. Just checking for your understanding level that regarding my presentation. Okay. So Taufik, can you see the code number in the screen?
Yeah, two three three
Two
four
three
seven two
three
four
four.
eight.
Yeah, 23347 248. Just go to the menti.com and give the code number so that you can get the question.
So should we start answering now?
Yeah, please, please. Just 2 3 minutes we can do so, because it is pretty important to understand these things. Yeah, people started giving the answer. We can give 2 3 minutes to do so. Tofik, I'm sure I'm not killing your time.
No, no, no. It's okay. Yeah. Probably people may have joined from their mobile devices, and that will take time to answer from mobile devices.
Yeah. For just 5 minutes, it's very important thing
Yeah.
we need to understand.
I think everyone should answer, right?
Yeah.
People.
Please try
Yeah.
to give answers so that you will be more clear whatever I have said. No problem. I will explain it. I think fine. We have got five answer, but the right answer is more rather than the wrong answer. Like my question was, what should be your focus on the business agility initiatives? The first option was focus on IT department to change the process. Well, I'm giving the answer. Okay. Whoever want to try, please try later. Well, focus on IT department change the process. It's absolutely not right, because uh, we whenever I mean always we think that agile transformation, agile I mean business agility is a sort of technical sort of things, but things are not like that. It is not the duty or it is not the responsibility of IT department. It is the responsibility of all stakeholders. As I've already mentioned, that we need to create a form or council across the organization so that they can I can add the value for the organization. And secondly, the second option was it was also incorrect, like individual improvements require rather than collaboration platform. No, it's absolutely wrong. We need to improve ourselves. We need to strengthen ourselves. We need to boost our energy, just like Jim. But obviously, working with the teams, working for collaboration, not for ourselves. Not for ourselves. It is for the collaboration. It is for the teamwork. We need to understand. And finally, the right answer was execute leader education and engagement. It is quite important. The leader has to lead, the leader actively believe and actively perform. They need to understand what is exactly the business agility or agile transformation so that they can guide the whole organization towards the right path. So that was my the question answer, no problem. Whoever give the right answer, congratulations. I am happy that you have done it. Okay. So finally, what we can say, the winning ingredients. So far, we have understand what is business agility, what is the agile transformation, why we need, so we have clearly understand, I think, right? So after doing the business agility, after doing the practice, after starting these practices, just like Jim, so what will be the benefit for our organization? Yes, we definitely can say that from our discussion that it is not a destination, it is a business goal. Business agility can help you to guide you. It's like a tool that can guide you to accomplish your goal and execute your leader education and engagement. And as I've mentioned, that educate awareness to learn, align, and guide across the organization, the whole business crossing the traditional silos. And we need to form a senior council team. They are driving the journey, and self-dedicated and executed internally is quite important. So these things happen whenever you think about the transformation and everything. So start from the small, build on the success. It's quite important understanding from that. So I think, Tofik, I am done. If you have any question, please ask freely, and I will try to give the answer. Otherwise, in the offline, I can also give you the answer. You can talk with me. Tawfiq can share my number as well. Thank you very much. Thank you for your understanding. Thank you for your patience.
Yeah, thanks, Noe. Thank you so much for doing this for us and our communities. And thanks for sharing your knowledge so far on business agility. And yes, I think this is so much helpful. It will help us to understand why business agility is required. So we always talked about technical agility, engineering agility, but leadership agility is missing, business agility is missing, HR agility is missing, right? So we need all together to generate some business values for the organization. And thank you so much, Nomi, for your session. Um, Yes, now we have one more session with Rishmi Fernandez. Rishmi,
Okay. My, yeah, can
yes,
you?
we can. Yes, we can see you. Yeah. Novi, you can stop sharing so that Rishmi can start.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, great, great. So, Rishmi, thanks for joining us, and let me give your introduction as well to the participant. So Rishmi, firstly, she's my colleague in as a leadership journey, and we both have been working for as a leadership journey since last 3 years. Yes, sometimes we co-facilitate some workshop. Beside that introduction, Reshmi has lots of experience with working with the leaders to co-create outcomes that lead to agility and positive team culture, organization culture, and also focusing on strategic planning and alignment. She specializes in enabling product teams to focus on customer centricity and arrive at shared understanding toward a common purpose. Yes, and as an innovation catalyst, she coaches teams on how to take an idea from concept to life. So that is very important. And this is the area, business agility is much more required. So today, Reshmi is going to talk on women leadership and burnout. So yes, in country like Bangladesh, we have right now uh, women leaders, not few. I think a very good number of women leaders we have. Our prime ministers as well as a woman. She is also a woman. So thanks, Reshmi, for doing this for us and helping us to grow. And yes, now session is yours. You can speak.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tawfiq. It's great to be here. Thank you for having me. So I'm going to start sharing my screen. Uh, okay. Let me know if you're able to see my screen.
Yes, Reshmi.
Okay, great. So, my topic today is, women leadership and burnout. And I'm going to start with a story, actually. So, Amina is a very close friend of mine. She has a very, good job in a dream company. She started off, applying for this and started planning for it pretty early, because she was really fascinated with the startup that was focusing on creativity, and she thought her talent and her capabilities will be most useful in this company. So she got into the job, she worked really hard. First of all, she was thinking, I didn't deserve this job. She had this urge to prove herself and take it forward from there, right? So because of which she put all her efforts, and she started to do more than she should do with the quest to prove herself in the organization. Because of which she started taking too many projects, and at some point it became so overwhelming that she couldn't concentrate anymore. There were a lot of pressure on her, a lot of demands, and she ended up having missed deadlines. Not only that, physically, mentally, emotionally, she became exhausted and her health started deteriorating, and because of which her family also suffered. Now, this is not just a story of Amina, right? There are many women who are going through this burnout. So, I'd like to quickly introduce myself. I'm Rashmi, and thanks, Tawfiq, for introducing me. Like he said, I'm an Agile Leadership Journey Guide, and I'm extremely passionate about Agile leadership for women, and hence I'm here, right? So, today's session outcomes is about burnout. Why does burnout happen? What are the causes? What is the impact? Are there any stages through which we go through burnout? And if there are any particular strategies that will help us overcome individually as people, for teams, and for organization, we are going to talk about it. Okay. So, to get started with, what is the definition of burnout? WHO says that burnout is a syndrome that is conceptualized as resulting from chronic workplace stress which has not been successfully managed. What does that mean? It means that any stress that's happening in the workplace and we are not successfully able to manage it, then we can term it as burnout. And burnout is recognized as a medical condition across the globe. And at some point in time, you will be experiencing, or you would have experienced, or somebody else is going through it right now. Because 77% of employees across the world are going through burnout. Okay. So, with that said, what are the symptoms? How do I know that I'm getting burnout, right? The first symptom is exhaustion. People start feeling fatigue. There is no energy. There is a lot of, stress in you. So, you physically, mentally, psychologically are not in a position to move forward, right? So, you're so exhausted. The second symptom is mental distance, which means you're showing some mood irritability, there are mood swings, you don't feel good about it, there are outbursts of anger, sometimes you end up crying, sometimes you end up getting angry. Those kind of emotional turmoils are happening at some point. This is the second biggest symptom of burnout. The third symptom is efficacy, which means you are reducing your performance levels. Because of all of these things that are happening physically, mentally to you, you are also not doing really well in your areas of work, right? So, if all of these are the top symptoms and you have any of these, then you probably are going through burnout, right? And why should we be talking about it in 2023? Because burnout has been a phenomena for many, many years. The reason we are talking about it is one, because like I already mentioned, 70% of employees across the globe are going through burnout today in 2023. And all the people, especially with the hospitality industry or the medical industry, are going through the maximum burnout, which means 80% of medical professionals and people in the hospitality industry are seeing burnout, of experiencing burnout. It was interesting to see millennials are the most burned out generation in our world today. 59% of millennials are going through burnout. And Gen Zs are considered to be the fastest burning out generation of all times. They moved from 47% of people being burned out to 58% in just 1 year. And the sad part is, you know, people who took this survey said 36% of the employees said that organizations are doing nothing about it, right? Which is why it is really important for us to talk about it today. So, what does it all mean? It means that burnout is real, and if you are going through, it's important for you to be aware of the symptoms, of the causes, and how it's going to impact you, and you need to take care of yourself, right? Which is why we are talking about it today. Now, there is also some confusion. You know, the symptoms that I spoke about, saying exhaustion, mood irritability, or mental distance, or reduced efficacy, can happen when you are stressed as well. So, what's the difference between stress and burnout, right? So, the first important thing to note is in a stressful situation, or when you are going through stress, it is because it's a normal response to a situational pressure or demand, which means there is some event that has happened or going to happen, and which is why you're stressed about it. An example could be you probably have a deadline to give an interview, or you're about to write an exam, or you have a wedding to arrange for. But you know, at the end of that event, the stress is going to be gone and you will feel that you are in control of the situation, if that is stress situation, right? And most often this is either positive or negative. Sometimes additional stress will help you push you forward to achieve something or a goal or deadline. And if it has to affect you negatively, probably you will have lack of sleep, you may have high BP, headaches, and so on. So that is what is stress. Now, burnout is a different level altogether. If you continue to have this stress, it can lead to burnout because of stress. So, which means there is a prolonged period of stress you have gone through specific to workplace, because burnout is a term specific to workplace or occupational context, right? And burnout creeps in slowly. You may not realize that you are going through burnout because you are starting with stress and then slowly it goes more and more and more, and then it becomes burnout, and which will lead to fatigue, low motivation. It can also lead to cynicism, negativity, and you will also, like we said, because of reduced efficacy, you will build inability to meet your constant demands of your work, or you will feel ineffective. And because of this cynicism and the negativity towards the work that you really loved at some point, you're also not going to be effective in your performance, right? So this is a key difference between stress and burnout. Now, like I said, the transition from stress to burnout happens in stages, right? And these are the 5 stages. Let's talk about Amina again. What really happened to her, right? The first stage is when she got the job. She craved for the job. She was fascinated with the role, so she jumped in. And that initial period was honeymoon period for her. She started with enthusiasm. She was super excited. She said, "Yo, I got a new job. I'm so optimistic about it. I know I can, use my talents and everything and commit to do this." So she was driven and she went beyond her means to do her best. Slowly, because she was doing good at her projects, her management started adding more and more. So slowly she started feeling from one project to two projects to three projects to four projects. Now she started feeling stressed. There was stagnation, doing the same thing again and again. There was reduced productivity. She was anxious all the time. She was getting irritated and she was overworked, right? Which means she started saying, oh my God, there is so much work and I don't have the time today. As she did not take care of it, she moved to the third stage, which was the chronic stress, where she ended up getting frustrated. And at this point, she started neglecting her personal needs. She started missing her breakfast. Probably she could not sleep anymore. She did not feel like going to work. And there was some resentment towards work, right? I don't want to do this, or I don't want to, I'm no more interested in doing work, and so on, which is when it led to the burnout. So you see that the stress really starts at a certain stage, but it proceeds to add more and more if you don't take care of it, right? So at the burnout stage, there is apathy. There is so much exhaustion and despair that it will show up in your physical symptoms, right? So you start getting headaches, you start feeling like you're sleeping all the time or you're yawning all the time. You're so exhausted that you can't stand in one place. You just feel fatigue, and sometimes you may say things like, I'm feeling so lethargic, I don't know what to do, right? So it shows up in your physically, it shows physically, right? And then you start hating your job. And the last stage is where you will end up needing support and you are struggling to function, and that struggle is visible to the external world, which means people around you will start seeing that you are burnt out and you're not effective because you're irritated, you're angry, you're upset, and then things are going on. And then at some point, you'll start feeling, I'm done. I can't live like this. There are some people who have gone into depression and anxiety because of this stage. There are some people who have even had suicidal tendencies. So, which is why we are talking about it, and it's very, very important for us to focus on this, right? Now, let's go to menti.com. And I just want to see if we can understand some of the symptoms that we just learned, right? So please type in 26417277 on your Menti, and let's see if we can name the symptoms. Tawfiq, I won't be able to see the screen, so you'll have to guide me. Is it visible, or can somebody
Uh,
respond?
s- yes, Rashmi, we can see your screen, but that is Teams screen, but not other screen. So
Oh,
I think you can share it again, right?
okay,
Okay.
okay, sounds
Yeah.
good. Okay, I'll share it again. I'm a little um handicapped with the Teams because I haven't used Teams as much. Are you able to see now? Does it say name some symptoms, some of
Yes.
the symptoms,
Yes.
Okay, great. So please start responding. Go to menti.com, type in 26417277. You should be able to type in, and I should be able to see what you guys are typing out here. And because it's a small group, even if you are able to speak out and have a conversation, I would love it, because I'm not a person who likes to just keep talking. I like to receive some interaction as well. Awesome. Yeah, there was a lot of pressure. She went through a lot of stress. There was burnout. What else? What symptoms did you see in Amina's story, in the stages when I explained? Okay, I'm assuming that some of us are not able to log into Mentimeter, and hence we are not getting answers. So I will move ahead. Um, so Tawfiq, can you see my PowerPoint now, or is it still showing?
Yes. Yes. It's PowerPoint now. Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, awesome. So I'm going to go ahead. So why are we talking about women in burnout today? Why is it so important? Like burnout can be experienced by both men and women, right? Why should we be talking about women today? The reason is, according to Harvard Business Review research, a greater overload, role overload is experienced by women more than men, and that is because of which we women are able, are actually struggling to balance work and responsibilities at the same time. We'll talk why in a little bit. But Gallup, a study by Gallup or a survey by Gallup also showed that 44% of women experience burnout compared to 34% of men, right? And the Journal of Applied Psychology found that women experienced higher levels of work family conflict than men, which contributed to stress and burnout for women. So this is happening in the pandemic more, because burnout was, like I said, was already existing in the past, but it's happening more in the pandemic because there is no longer a distinction between work life and personal life. Suddenly everything has become the same, right? So today, if I ask all of you, is there a Zoom burnout? Yes, because you're 24 hours on either Microsoft Teams video call or on a Zoom call. Is there an exercise burnout? People are saying because we did not go outside and we had some time, we started exercising more. The people are getting exercise burnout. There are a lot of people who are saying there is a diet burnout. Everybody is trying different kinds of diets today, right? So the pandemic has actually brought in a lot of different way of working for us, and that has put a toll on how women are looking at work and work life balance, right? Now these were all the numbers that I shared earlier were for the globe and mostly for the US. What about Asia? How about women in Asia? Are they doing better or worse? Actually, they're doing worse. 56% of women struggle with burnout in Asia against a 44% of of women across the globe. And that is happening because of our culture, because of the way our society is built. And in comparison to the rest of the world, Asia has a lot of pressure on women with unrealistic expectation. We are supposed to be working at home and at work at the same pace. No matter if you are a CEO or a director or a VP at work, you're still a daughter, you're still a mother, you're still a daughter-in-law or whatever, and you still have to meet the unrealistic expectations that our family and friends have on us, right? And because women tend to take more workload, they are far more tuned in their minds to take more workload. We end up doing more of it because we want to prove ourselves, because we don't get enough opportunities for us to do that, and also because of the work life imbalance that we just spoke about, right? Now men and women handle stress differently. So let's hear from you guys. Is there a difference in the way men react to stress in comparison to women? What do you guys feel? Yes, no?
Yes, I think.
So how do men react to stress in comparison? All the people that you have experienced, seen, what really happens with the men, and how do you guys handle it? There's no right or wrong answer. Every human being is different, so you will deal with it differently. So you can, whatever you say is right.
Some men go drinking.
Yeah. Yeah, men go drinking. They will maybe go out and hang out with friends, because they have the space. But women may not be able to do that because our society does not, it does not, it's not like it does not allow, but we are judged if we do that. And there is a perception in place. And as women, we are so careful about what people will say or what will somebody perceive about us and so on, right? And there is safety and everything associated with it. So women deal with, stress slightly differently than men, and that is the reason, that's the reason we go through burnout more. Now the other question is, do you all agree that most women work in two shifts? What
True,
do you guys think? True.
true. Yeah,
Okay, yes, it is
one
absolutely.
shift in office, one shift in home.
Yeah, I'm so happy you said that because some most often we don't even recognize that, right? So when we say the second shift, the biggest reason for women going through burnout is the second shift. And when we say second shift, it refers to women's unpaid work at home, right? Not that you have to pay, but that's so much work that is being done at home, and women still tend to have the most important role of taking care of their children, the elderly, the manage the household chores and so on. And when women were working from home, it was, even now it's extremely difficult for women to even find a quiet moment or a quiet space where they can just sit and relax and take a break, because children are screaming, because children didn't go to school during the pandemic. They went through the through more pressure because women were taking care of them. And also there was a lot of pressure because of homeschooling, because children were not going to school, mothers ended up teaching children at home, right? And women faced a lot of challenges while balancing home and work because of that. And whether we like it or not, we are underappreciated most of the time. Some men don't understand, some men do understand. And it's not just the men. Sometimes families say that, as a mother, you are supposed to do this, or as a wife, you should be doing this, and there is no other way, right? So, because of all of these reasons and the lack of support in most cultures, and the expectation becomes too high, and women really struggle to do that. And it's very funny and interesting also that women often associate shame when they are not able to balance work. They want to be the superwoman, they want to be the best mother, best wife, best daughter-in-law, and the best employee and the best leader, etc., etc., which puts a lot of pressure on them. And it feels like when they don't meet those standards, something is wrong with them, which also ends up building low self-worth and low self-esteem, right? And how many hours do you guys think a woman spends in the second shift?
Half of the day.
Half day?
Yes, like 12 hours or something.
Yeah. 60% of the mothers with young children spend at least a minimum of 5+ hours a day on housework and caregiving. And that too, these numbers are from the US. But if you actually look at Asia and others, this side of the world, I think it's a lot more, because we don't really focus on work life balance. We don't disconnect from our work. The laptop is always on 24/7, or maybe at least for 12 to 14 hours, and while you're also taking care of your children, your housework and everything else, right? So just imagine you're working at a minimum of 10 hours at office, working from home for office, and an additional 5+ hours a day at home. It is bound to put you under pressure. Okay, so that's the first reason. What's the second reason? It's interesting to see that even our physiology is more prone to burnout, which means if you read the book The Female Brain by Luan Bryson-Dean, she says women's brain have more genes, and they are wired differently for emotional processing, which means that our response to stress is much more higher because more genes are involved, and our interconnections in our minds or in our brains are so strong for emotions that we feel more burnout. The amygdala, which is the brain part responsible for fight, freeze, and flight response, is larger in women. So because it is more active and large, it is more sensitive to stress. And because of our menstrual cycles and childbirth and so many other things, our hormones are always fluctuating and impacting our physical and emotional response to stress. As these hormones fluctuate, it affects our mood, our energy levels, and the response to stress. Okay, and like we already spoke, we are socialized, and we are supposed to socialize, be socialized for caretaking and prioritize the needs of others over our own, right? Because we focus on others' needs, like our children or our husband or parents or the world or the team, we are ending up creating more stress for ourselves. And interestingly, our left hemisphere of the brain and the right hemisphere of the brain have more connections, so we can do wonderful multitasking. And I think everybody agrees that women can do better multitasking, right? But does it mean that you have to give them more work? No, but we end up getting more work because people assume that, oh, she's a woman, she can multitask, so she can handle it, handle everything, in fact. And then women's bodies produce more cortisol, which is the stress hormone, than men. For all of these reasons, women end up susceptible to more stress related health problems like anxiety and stress. Right? So, one, there is a second shift. Two, our bodies or our minds are tuned for taking more stress. And the third reason, especially for women in leadership position, first of all, leadership position is all consuming, right? If you have to be a leader, there is a lot of work involved, right? So what does it mean? So when I say leadership is all consuming, it means that leaders carry a great deal of responsibility, right? So which means we have to take so many decisions. These decisions are impacting people that we lead. So sometimes we're taking a lot of decisions under a lot of pressure. And because there is so much going on in the background, and we are responsible for the outcomes, it puts due pressure on us if we are in higher leadership positions. Leadership is also complex, right? We have to balance competing priorities. We have to navigate the nuances of being human centric while you are being strategic. So that puts a toll. And because our brains are wired for connection, we want to do justice for people, but we also want to do justice for the organization. Takes a toll on us. Because the world is constantly changing, we need a lot of time and energy and focus in order to make those things going. And since everything is changing, there is also an undue pressure of we also having to upskill ourselves and upgrade ourselves to better and latest trends, right? And then there is communication, because we are handling different generations today. There is this millennials, there is this gen z's, there is baby boomers, there is this so many different kind of. I think our generation is one generation that's handling five different generations at workplaces, which is also needing for women to use different communication styles, which also takes a toll on how much our brain capacity is being used, right? And because we have very few women leaders as role models, we are expected ourselves to become role models for others. And we end up, like I said, we end up taking too much on ourselves to be the best superwoman that we can be, at work and at home, and that puts a huge pressure on us, right? Now this is all great, but there's also the gender bias. At workplace, people perceive us differently, and there is this double bind. What does it mean by double bind, right? So double bind means when women leaders face double standard when it comes to leadership, and we are expected to conform to traditional gender roles. What it means is, as a woman, if you are being very aggressive, people will say, oh, she's dominating. If you are too soft and nice and focusing on people, they'll say, oh, she's not a leadership material, she's too soft. If you're staying up all night and doing work, people will say, oh, she's selfish, she's only taking care of work, she's not bothered about the family. But if she's not doing that, then they'll say people lead, as a leader she does not have the focus. So it's extremely difficult for women to either be this or that, and it's a constant conflict and struggle to balance those needs. So Pantene came up with an excellent ad that describes what a double bind is. And I just wanted to share that with you. It's just a 1.5 minute video, and I'm going to play it for all of us to just watch it. All around me are familiar faces, worn out places, worn out faces, bright and early for their daily races, going nowhere, going nowhere, and their tears are filling up their glasses. No expression, no expression. Mad world, mad world. Yeah. So I hope you found it relatable. So we are labeled in different ways. And, my urge to all you women is to not let these labels hold you back from achieving your true potential. And there will be gender bias, and, because of which there's a lot of pressure on us emotionally and, in a psychological manner, but we need to let go of it and move on, right? So this is, I just want to take this as a point of reflection, and, I want to call out that we all have either experienced or witnessed gender bias in workplace, and most often tolerate it. So at this point, I want us to take a step back, pause for like 10 seconds, and say, maybe going forward, you'll at least voice it and stop that for each of our, people. Because your wives are in workplaces, your daughters, your, mothers may be in workplaces. So maybe we should stop it here. Okay. So now, here are some statistics around gender bias. There are 53% of entry level employees at 60 Fortune 500 companies who are women, but over the years, only about a 19% make it to the C suite, which means to the senior leadership positions, according to analysis from McKinsey. And because of this, we are going through a lot of stress and burnout, having to prove ourselves, having to, push our agenda while things are not really happening for us. About 60% of women who are working in hybrid environments, which is a couple of days at work and a couple of days at home, feel they have been excluded from important meetings. And, I was talking about this with one of my friend, and he said that we are excluding you because we know that you're burned out. But the question is, because we are not able to be part of these meetings, we are not at the table to take the right decisions or share our opinions and our inputs, which is actually, blocking our growth, because the required leaders in that room are not able to witness our strength in, how we can think strategically, or how we can really think about balancing both strategy and human centricity if we are not in that meeting, right? And like we all know, women leaders are underrepresented, making it harder for us to find role models. We do not have enough women on the top in the C suite for us to look and say, oh, I want to be like her within our organizations. And which is why we are not finding enough mentors as well. So it becomes really important for men to become our allies and help us to get what we are due, right? Now, why should we care about burnout in organizations? Because according to statistics, 62% of all employees feel mentally and physically exhausted at work. 7 in 10 employees felt burnt out in 2022 alone. This is including both men and women, right? And mental health issues and workplace stress costed the US economy $500 billion annually. Over 60% of passionate people feel burnout, which means that if our own passionate people who are high achievers, who are the ones who are making the organization stick or grow, if they are all burned out and exhausted and fatigued and do not have the mental space to actually think creatively and come up with interesting products, then there is no innovation happening as well, right? So about 50% of employees are ready to leave their job for a more flexible job. With all of these numbers, there is a huge impact in the organization. One, there is decreased productivity, right? If 62% of all employees feel mentally, and physically exhausted, which means there is a lack of productivity at work. So while women in leadership positions are experiencing burnout, they may struggle to meet their responsibilities, they may struggle to delegate their tasks, and hence, they may have a lot of delays and missed opportunities. Now, about 50% of the employees are leaving their jobs. So what does that mean? Which means that there's an increasing turnover. Your HR department is really struggling to fill in those positions because of the attrition. If 50% of them leave, which means we have to hire 50% new people, which means that there's an onboarding process, which means there is a lack of knowledge, a lot of information is going out in terms of, tenured employees. So how are we able to replenish that in a short time while the VUCA world is existing? Everything is changing so fast, and if you are letting people go, then you may struggle to meet your organization goals, right? Now, because there are so many mental issues, and it's causing the US economy $500 billion annually, it means that in the initial symptoms we saw, there is going to be cynicism. People are going to be irritated, angry, emotional. There is negativity, which is causing the whole organization culture to become negative. How can one survive in a toxic culture and grow? If people are not able to grow, then the culture is not growing, which means your organization is not growing, right? And this chronic sense of exhaustion is leading to a lot of depression and other disorders for employees. Now, like we mentioned, if over 60 people who are passionate are going through burnout, and there is no creative space, which means there is reduced innovation. There is no creativity, there is nothing new coming up. And in the fast paced world that we are in, where knowledge has become a commodity and everybody knows everything, if your organizations are not creative, there is no way that you will grow as an organization, right? So, which also means that we have an extremely exhausted workforce today. And if we don't do anything about it, we are going to not exist as an organization. Right? So, this is something that I was astonished to read, that for over 61.5 women, burnout lasted over a year for millennials, and for the Gen X group, 40% of them had burned out that lasted for over 2 years. And it really takes about 4 years or more to recover from burnout if you're going through it. Which means, just imagine your or 50% of your organization or 70% of your organization is going to take 4 years to get better. And if that's the scenario, just imagine the state of your organization and its growth opportunities. Right? So I think it's high time we do something about it. So, what can organizations do? It is known by research that work flexibility can decrease burnout by 50%, which means if 53% of employees believe having a job that lets them maintain a healthy work life balance is very important. So give them the flexibility. Don't force people to come to work and, on all days and try to do whatever. In the pandemic, for so many years, we survived with working from home. Maybe it's important to talk to your employees and see what they need and what they really want, and how can they be the most productive part of the organization, and enable those policies to happen, right? Now, leadership assistance can lower burnout by 30%. Only 20% of employees said that their leaders managed them in a way that motivated them to do a better job, which means that we need leadership that can show empathy, passion, and who are really ethical in their dealings and help people to grow. With the kind of hierarchical or command and control kind of leadership, we are going to see only people burning out more. So, can we build our own leadership capacity to become, catalyst leaders, so that we can help people who to come out of this burnout? And like I said earlier, having an ally at work reduces burnout by 40%. So how can we help each other? The statistics also says that only about 21% of workers were openly able to talk to the HR about their burnout problem. If there is no psychological safety, if there is no trust in the organization, people are not going to talk. And if you do not build a culture of ally, where you can help each other and support each other and be buddies with each other, you are more likely to see people getting exhausted and fatigued and probably leaving their jobs. So let's hear from you guys. What is your advice for someone who is going through burnout? So I'm not going to go to the Mentimeter because I think we are struggling to use it technically. So let's talk about it. What's your advice for someone who is going through burnout? If you had a friend or a colleague, how would you tell them to manage it?
To change the environment for a while.
Yeah, so when you say change the environment, that's not in our control, right? It's an organizational aspect. So as leaders, probably we can shape it in a different way. But what is it that they can do immediately? Something that they can do.
I believe to have some me time, before burnout, there are some signs,
Yeah,
so when it comes to stress and feel nervous all the time, so we can have this me time to like maybe practice some mindfulness or practice some yoga or something, an exercise that make us regulate our emotions, and then the same exact time to have this like responsibility towards ourselves, that yes, we have many responsibilities. When it comes to women, we have many responsibilities over our shoulders, but in the same exact time we have to have our time to just maybe lost in our contemplation and do nothing in this world. I guess this is like one piece of advice I can give
absolutely.
women all around
That's
the world.
yeah, that is brilliant advice. This is an extremely important one. You have to focus on yourself and you have to take care of yourself unless and until, it's like in the airplane, they say, right? If something happens, wear your oxygen mask first before you give it to someone else, right? So take care of yourself, protect yourself. If you are happy and healthy, you will be able to take care of your family, friends, and organizations better. If you're yourself exhausted and tired and irritated, you are going to give the same thing back to your people. So that's a brilliant advice. Please take care of yourselves first, and that's an amazing advice that she gave us. Anybody else? Well, let's take one more and move on.
Actually, in case of women, uh,
Hmm.
it's better to inform their family and their parents or any belongings to them, so that they actually know that what is burnout and how they can guide the woman and get relief of those stress in initiative level, because it's important to keep the family culture better all the time, because most of the people actually switch their jobs or do some things, change their environment in case of the working culture. But in case of the family, if everything everyone is understanding that okay, she needs some time to get some relief, that would be a better option.
Yeah, that's a brilliant idea. I think it's also important to build that awareness. That's what you're talking about, right? Let people know what burnout looks like. Let people know, if you're seeing somebody going through stress or burnout, let their families know that they need help and give them the support that they need. So this is brilliant advice. Thank you for sharing. All right, let's move on. So what kind of activities can we do to avoid burnout? Right? One, express gratitude. Write down two or three things you're grateful for each day for a week and focus on the positive aspects of your life. If you're already burnt out, this may not help because you're not in a mental space to do it. But if you're moving towards it, this can be something that will help you avoid that worst stage, right? Like, she said, set aside 5 minutes, your me time, where you can take deep breaths or visualize yourself in a peaceful environment, or maybe do some exercises. Mindfulness practice, either meditation or focusing on the present moment or observing your thoughts without judgment and letting go, right? So there's something happening. Let's accept that something is happening and let go. And exercise, right? If you can regularly exercise, it will help you reduce a lot of stress and improve your mental health. It could be in the form of a walk, it could be in the form of a dance, it could be in the form of yoga or a fun workout or whatever that may be, right? Now, apart from all of this, which is helping you avoid, but if you are going towards that stressful stage, here are 5 questions I want you to ask yourselves. Number one, what do I really need right now? If you're already going through stress and exhausted or in fatigue, ask yourself, do I need a glass of water? Do I need to talk to somebody? Do I need to just get up and walk? Do I need to just take a breath, or take a break? Or do I need to do something else which is more, going to help me or take care of myself? So focus on that question. Pause every, maybe every hour in a day and say, what do I really need? And get that for yourself and focus on your need. The second question is, what can I set down? Which means, what can I put down or not worry about it too much? It could be a limiting belief. Sometimes we do things for others, right? So you're probably fulfilling somebody's expectation of yourself. Maybe you have to put that down and say, no, I'm not going to live for someone another person. Let me take care of myself for my own needs at this moment, because I have to be well to take care of others. Or you may be setting more high standards for yourself. Sometimes, you get into that perfection trap. You're doing something and you want to do it perfect. Like I shared before, right? You want to be a superwoman. You want to be the best mom. You want to be the best daughter, best daughter-in-law, best employee, best leader, whatever. It's too much pressure. Just set it down. Do whatever you can to the best of your ability and move ahead. What actually needs to get done today? Are we prioritizing our list of things that we do on a daily basis? Or are we just running around everything and finishing everything? It's important for you to really think about, is there something that is really, really important and urgent and just get that done? Can the other activities wait another day? Can I delegate it to someone else? Or can somebody else help me to do it? Or things like that, right? And the fourth important question is, what can I remove from my plate? Is there something that I have to do? Sometimes we do things out of habit because we've been doing it forever. We will continue to do it. Maybe it's okay to stop. One of the advices that I got in the past is, I was a little cleanliness freak in the house. I used to always dust everything, clean everything. So somebody advised me saying that it's okay if your house is dirty for a few days. You take care of yourself and focus on your needs. And I thought that advice was brilliant, right? Nobody is coming to my house and saying how my house is. If I sleep a little extra, it's okay because I need it today. So, what can you remove from your plate today? And the last and the most crucial, which women usually don't do, is asking for help. They take all the burden on your shoulders, and you will say that I have to finish this because people expect me to do it. And we don't seek help. We don't seek help at work, we don't seek help at home. Think about where you can ask for help. If you have to clean everything, can you get a housemaid to help us, or a house help to help us? If you have to get something at work done, can you ask your teams to help you, or can you delegate something to someone, or request for help? Even a peer can help you with some workload items because you are feeling low, and you can always help them back when they are not feeling their best self, right? So where can I ask for help is a very crucial question, and I want us to ponder over all of these five on a daily basis when you're going through a lot of stress, or even if you begin the onset of stress, which is the second stage. Now, there are some two interesting books that I read recently, and I found it really powerful. There are some ineffective habits of women, okay, which normally puts us under a lot of undue pressure, eventually leading to burnout. And some of them are these. We are always, we have this disease to please everybody, keep everybody happy, keep everybody, uh, you know, um, like they should like us and appreciate us and acknowledge us and validate that we are doing good, recognize us, etc., etc. Sometimes we don't ask for help. We put the needs of others before ours. We end up multitasking, thinking that we can manage everything. We are overworked working because we want to be the best. We shy away from leveraging our network. We know a lot of people. We build a great relationship because we generally are wired for connection, but we don't use the network to help us move ahead. We get stuck in the perfection trap. We are the last one to speak. We don't claim our achievements. We avoid conflicts. We don't take recognition. We don't take seats at the table. This will go on and on. This book actually has some 136 ineffective habits, and How Women Rise is about 12. So this is a good book to read if you're interested. And we don't say no very often. We say yes to everything. And sometimes we internalize our messaging. Something's happening outside and there is something that goes wrong. You'll internalize it saying that I was not good enough, I could have done it better. And you get feedback like it's all your fault, right? So stop that conversation right there. Stop being too emotional, disconnect from the results. And if you're able to do all of this, probably you will, some of these at least, you will be able to avoid burnout for yourself, right? So here is a quick 20-second video from Madonna with a key message for women that I really like. And I'd like to share it with you before I close my talk.
As women, we have to start appreciating our own worth and each other's worth. Seek out strong women to befriend, to align yourself with. to learn from, to be inspired by, to collaborate with, to support, to be enlightened by.
Yeah.
As women,
So that's it. Thank you so much for having me. And if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to take them now. Yeah,
Thank
Nurun.
you so much.
Yeah. Nurun has raised his hand. Go ahead, Nurun.
Yes.
Yeah, actually, I want to say, like, don't you think that the situation is gradually changing? That men are very responsible for household work nowadays, and they are taking care of the kids, and they are taking care of the cooking sort of things. What do you think?
Yeah, it is changing, definitely. But I think it's not enough, right? Maybe it's happening in bits and pockets. Maybe you are doing it, Nurun, and that's why you're confidently talking about it. But I think in most pockets of our culture, it's not happening. And I will challenge that back by saying, and I totally agree. Most of us are probably getting there, trying to do it, but it's not all. I know a lot of women, who are going through a lot of problems because the men expect women to be the domesticated housewife that they always wanted, and they're saying that you leave your job, or and stay at home if you don't like it, and don't be so ambitious if you're a woman, and those kind of comments. I also heard that some men say, we have a home loan and we have an EMI to pay, and hence you have to manage both. We can't help it, so you can't take
My
a
God.
break even when women want to take a break. So there are a lot of different kinds of people, and because it is all coming in statistics and there is a lot of information out there, I think it's not something that has been managed effectively yet. But I'm sure we are in the right track, because I've seen a lot of men who are trying to be allies for women. I myself, and as example, I have a coach, Jayaprakash, who actually pushed me to be my best version throughout my journey. I have another, friend or a peer that I'm working with, which is RNP. He encourages me to, focus on my career and my growth, and then say, maybe you can hire a cook if you want to not cook at home and take care of yourself. My son pushes me to say, why don't you use the weekends, go get a massage and come back and, just rest. You don't have to cook, we'll order. So there are a lot of, people who are moving towards, supporting women, but we are not yet there. And which is why we are talking so much about it.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other questions? I hope there were a couple of key takeaways for all of you to take back and try and apply in your own lives.
Yeah, thanks, Rishmi, and thank you so much for this wonderful discussion on this topic, women leadership and burnout. I think, as you said, there are few takeaways from this session for all of us, and that will help us to rethink about this topic again.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure sharing my
Yeah, right. And I would like to thanks all of you, all the participants, speakers, and community leaders and members for joining us today. And we will have another session on next month to continue this meetup. And thanks to all of you. And this recording will be uploaded to our YouTube channel, and I will share it through the LinkedIn so that you can watch it later as well. So thank you so much, Nobi Bhai and Rashmi. Thank you so much for uh, speaking in this session. And
Thank you.
thanks to all the participants. Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. Bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye. Thank you, everyone.